Welcome to Sensible Safe Play. In this presentation, you will learn more about how to ensure a safe outdoor play area for the children in your care by reviewing the North Carolina Child Care Commission's rules for permanent playgrounds. This playground safety training is a practical and educational interpretation of the North Carolina Child Care Commission's permanent playground rules. The four playground safety components within these rules include providing a safe environment for children, a required 4-hour safety training course for child care directors and one other employee, required monthly inspection reports, and reporting all incidences and injuries which occur on the playground. Staff are required to complete the 4-hour safety training course, and it varies upon the size of the center. For centers serving less than 30 children, one staff member must complete the training within 6 months of hire. For centers serving 30 or more children, the center director and one other staff member must complete the training within 6 months of hire. Take a moment and think about the nature of what children do on the playground. What words would you use to describe children's play? You may have said things like children jump when they play, or they run and climb. Children often smile when they play. All of these words and phrases are just some of the ways in which children learn and develop through play. The bottom line is this: playgrounds are a learning environment for kids. Every day at your child care center, you provide a place for this development to occur, and you encourage this growth to happen. The words and phrases that we have just discussed are the very reason that playgrounds were first developed in the United States back in the late 1800s. Because of the active nature of outdoor play, we have to take a moment and consider two terms: risk and hazard. A risk contains a decision or judgment. A hazard cannot be seen by a child and therefore cannot be judged. An everyday example of a risk would be when we drive a car, we decide that a left-hand turn across traffic can be made safely by making a judgment of the distance and speed of the oncoming cars. Likewise, while swinging, children decide to jump off and out because they have judged themselves not too high above the ground to hurt themselves when they land. On the other hand, adults say that a blind corner is a driving hazard because we cannot judge if and how fast other traffic is approaching. A child could fall because a worn S-hook on the swing breaks. In this situation, there was no judgment involved because the child could not see or evaluate the condition of the S-hook. Children must take risk as part of the playing and learning process. Our goal is to remove hazards. Risk-taking during play is part of the learning process. A playground that has eliminated all risk would be no fun or successful for that matter. In fact, this playground could only exist in theory. What we want to do in offering a safe play environment is to remove the hazards. I'm sure if you think back to your own childhood, many of you can recall injuries that you sustained on a playground. As professionals, we should strive to provide a safe playground environment to help minimize these injuries. There are 3 reasons why a child care provider should provide a safe playground environment. Number 1, it's morally the right thing to do. Number 2, it is backed by child care requirements. And number 3, negligence could result in a liability claim. It is your obligation as a child care provider to supply a physically and emotionally safe environment for the children in your care. Remember, on the playground, a safe environment is one where the hazards are removed or addressed. Take a moment to look at some data from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and think about the safety of our playgrounds. You can see a rise in the number of injuries over the past several years. Some experts have speculated that this rise in injuries is not due to less safe playgrounds, but to better reporting sites. Either way, it is important for us to provide the safest play environment possible for the children in our care. Now let's take a look at some information from North Carolina. According to the 2002 calendar year statistics that were supplied to the North Carolina Division of Child Development, 1,388 injuries were reported that required medical attention. Of those injuries, 37.5% of the 521 injuries occurred on the playground. When we take a look at those injuries by age group, infants included 20% of the total injuries, toddlers 20% of the total injuries, preschoolers were at 34% of the total injuries, and school-agers were accounting for 11% of the total injuries. When we look at the cause of injuries, 218 injuries, or 42%, were due to hits and bumps. 144 injuries, or 28%, were due to falls from heights, and 159% of the injuries, or 30%, were due to other causes. As you can see, climbers, slides, composite structures, and swings were the most consistently reported equipment associated with fall from height injuries. If you make the assumption that climbers and composite structures are essentially the same above ground play equipment, then this data is strikingly similar to the results from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission findings.